Welcome back, everyone. My name is Shafi, and this is Feel Learns English. I'm really happy to see you here today. Wow, today is very special. I'm honestly so excited because we are starting something powerful together. We are beginning a C1 real-life English conversation masterclass journey. Now, I know what you might be thinking. C1? That sounds serious, maybe even scary. But don't worry. Let me tell you something important. This lesson is not difficult, stressful, or boring. In fact, this is going to be one of the most natural, real, and practical English conversation experiences you've ever had. Today, we are not just learning new words. No, not at all. We are learning how to think in English, how to speak without translating in your head, and how to sound confident and natural in real-life situations. If you stay with me until the end of this lesson, I promise you something. You will feel more ready to speak English naturally, whether you are at work, at school, traveling, or simply chatting with friends at a coffee shop. Now, let me ask you to imagine something for a moment. Picture yourself in a real conversation. Maybe it's your first day at a new job. Maybe you're meeting someone new for the first time. Or maybe you're ordering food in a restaurant in an English-speaking country. Everything feels fine at first, but suddenly you freeze. Your mind goes blank. You understand everything the other person is saying, but when it's your turn to speak, the words don't come out. You start translating from your own language into English inside your head. And by the time you're ready to speak, the moment is already gone. Does this sound familiar? I know it does, because students from all over the world tell me the same thing. They say, Shafi, I can read English. I can understand English when I listen. But when I try to speak, I feel stuck. I feel scared. And let me tell you something very important. That feeling is completely normal. That fear, that hesitation, that freezing moment, it does not mean you're bad at English. It simply means you haven't practiced speaking English in a real, natural, and automatic way yet. And that is exactly what we are going to change today. Step by step. Sentence by sentence. Conversation by conversation. We're going to practice real-life English until speaking starts to feel easy and natural, just like breathing. So right now, I want you to relax. Take a deep breath. You're in a safe place here. No pressure. No judgment. This is your practice time. This is your moment to grow. And remember, I'm right here with you, guiding you through every step. If you haven't subscribed to Feel Learns English yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. We upload English learning videos every single day to help you build confidence, fluency, and real speaking skills. Trust me, this journey we're starting today is going to be powerful. All right, let's begin. First, let's talk about what C1 level English really means. C1 is not about knowing every word in the dictionary. It's not about speaking with perfect grammar all the time. C1 is about being able to express yourself clearly, naturally, and confidently in almost any situation. It's about walking into a room and knowing you can handle the conversation, whether it's casual, professional, or even a little challenging. C1 means thinking in English instead of translating. It means speaking automatically, without fear and without hesitation. And here's the good news. You don't need to be perfect to reach this level. You just need to practice real conversations, real situations, and real expressions that people actually use every day. That's exactly what we're going to do today. I'll give you sentences, phrases, and short conversations. And I want you to repeat after me out loud. Yes, out loud. Even if you're alone in your room. Even if you feel a little shy at first. Say it with me. This is how your brain learns. This is how your mouth gets comfortable with English sounds. This is how confidence is built. Let's start with something simple but very powerful. Greetings. You already know how to say hello or hi, right? But at the C1 level, we want to sound warm, friendly, and natural. Instead of just saying hi, you can say, "Hey, how's it going?" "Hi there, good to see you." "Hey, how have you been?" These small changes make a big difference. They make you sound more fluent, more confident, and more real. Let's practice together. Say it with me. "Hey, how's it going?" Again, "Hey, how's it going?" Good. Now try this one. "Hi there, good to see you." Repeat after me. "Hi there, good to see you." Excellent. And one more. "Hey, how have you been?" Say it with me. "Hey, how have you been?" Beautiful. Do you feel how natural those sentences sound? That's the energy we want in every conversation today. Now imagine a real situation. You walk into a coffee shop. The barista smiles and says, "Hey, how's it going?" What do you say? You could say, "Hey, I'm doing well, thanks." How about you? Let's practice that together. Repeat after me slowly. "Hey, I'm doing well, thanks." How about you? Perfect. Or maybe you want to sound more casual. You could say, "Hey, not bad. Just grabbing a coffee before work." Try it with me. "Hey, not bad. Just grabbing a coffee before work." Wonderful. This is real English. This is how people actually speak in daily life. And the more you practice these small, everyday conversations, the more confident you'll feel when the real moment comes. Because here's the secret. Fluency is not about memorizing books. Fluency is about practicing real-life moments until they become automatic. Now, let's move on to another common situation. Now, let's move on to introducing yourself. Imagine a real situation. Maybe you're at a networking event. Maybe you're starting a new class. Maybe you're meeting your friend's friends for the very first time. At the C1 level, we want to sound confident, but also friendly and natural. We don't want to sound robotic or too short. So instead of only saying, "My name is Alex," we can say a little more and sound much better. For example, you can say, "Hi, I'm Alex. It's really nice to meet you." Or, "Hey, I'm Alex. I've heard so much about you." Or, "Hi there, I'm Alex. Thanks for having me." These small additions make you sound polite, relaxed, and confident. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. "Hi, I'm Alex. It's really nice to meet you." Again, "Hi, I'm Alex. It's really nice to meet you." Good. Now try this one. "Hey, I'm Alex. I've heard so much about you." Say it with me. "Hey, I'm Alex. I've heard so much about you." Great. And one more. "Hi there, I'm Alex. Thanks for having me." Repeat. "Hi there, I'm Alex. Thanks for having me." Excellent. Now here's a small challenge for you. Think about the next real conversation you'll have. Use your real name this time. Say it out loud right now. "Hi, I'm underscore underscore underscore. It's really nice to meet you." Go ahead, try it. Did you do it? If you did, that's amazing. If not, pause the video and practice it now because this is your time. This is where real improvement happens. All right, let's keep going. Now let's talk about one of the most important skills in real conversation, asking questions. In real life, conversations are not one-sided. They go back and forth. You speak. Then the other person speaks. You ask a question. They answer. And the conversation continues naturally. Asking good questions shows that you are interested, engaged, and present in the conversation. At the C1 level, we want our questions to sound natural and warm. So instead of just asking, "What do you do?" we can say something better. For example, "So, what do you do for work? What kind of work are you in? Tell me a little bit about what you do." Let's practice together. Repeat after me. "So, what do you do for work?" Again, "So, what do you do for work?" Good. Now this one. "What kind of work are you in?" Say it with me. "What kind of work are you in?" Nice. And one more. "Tell me a little bit about what you do." Repeat. "Tell me a little bit about what you do." Perfect. Now imagine this situation. You're at a social event. Someone introduces themselves. You smile and say, "Nice to meet you." So, what do you do for work? They answer, "I'm a teacher." Now it's your turn to respond. Instead of just saying, "Oh, cool," we want to keep the conversation going. You could say, "Oh, that's interesting. What do you teach?" Or, "Oh, wow, that must be rewarding. How long have you been teaching?" Let's practice both. Repeat after me, "Oh, that's interesting. What do you teach?" Again, "Oh, that's interesting. What do you teach?" Good. Now this one. Say it slowly with me. "Oh, wow, that must be rewarding. How long have you been teaching?" Beautiful. Do you see how these small responses keep the conversation alive? That's the secret to fluency. Fluency is not just answering questions. It's asking questions back, showing interest, and building a real connection. Tell me in the comments which sentence you liked the most so far. I really love hearing from you. Now let's move on to another very common topic in daily conversations, talking about your day and your routine. This happens all the time at work, at school, or with friends. At the C1 level, we don't speak in short, boring sentences like, "I woke up," "I ate breakfast," "I went to work." Instead, we add details and feelings. Imagine someone asks you, "How was your day?" A very basic answer is, "It was good." But at C1, we can say more. For example, "It was pretty good, actually. I had a busy morning, but things calmed down in the afternoon." Or, "Honestly, it was a bit hectic, but I managed to get everything done." Let's practice. Repeat after me slowly. "It was pretty good, actually. I had a busy morning, but things calmed down in the afternoon." Again, "It was pretty good, actually. I had a busy morning, but things calmed down in the afternoon." Excellent. Now try this one. "Honestly, it was a bit hectic, but I managed to get everything done." Say it with me. "Honestly, it was a bit hectic, but I managed to get everything done." Perfect. Now let's talk about your morning routine in a natural way. Instead of saying, "I wake up at 7, we can say, "I usually wake up around 7 and grab a quick breakfast before heading out." Or, "I try to wake up early so I can take my time getting ready without rushing." Let's practice. Repeat after me. "I usually wake up around 7 and grab a quick breakfast before heading out." Again, "I usually wake up around 7 and grab a quick breakfast before heading out." Good. Now this one. Say it slowly with me. "I try to wake up early so I can take my time getting ready without rushing." Wonderful. Do you hear how natural these sentences sound? That's because they include real details and real feelings. This is how native speakers talk. And this is exactly what we're practicing today: real English, natural English, confident English. Now let's move on to something very important in everyday conversations, talking about your interests and hobbies. This is a great way to connect with people. At the C1 level, we want to sound enthusiastic and descriptive. So instead of saying, "I like reading," we can say, "I'm really into reading. I try to read at least one book a month." Or, "I love reading, especially fiction." It's a great way to relax after a long day. Let's practice. Repeat after me. "I'm really into reading." Continue. Let's continue talking about hobbies and interests. So, instead of just saying, "I like reading," we can say something more natural and expressive. For example, "I'm really into reading. I try to read at least one book a month." Let's practice. Repeat after me. "I'm really into reading. I try to read at least one book a month." Again, "I'm really into reading. I try to read at least one book a month." Good. Now try this one. "I love reading, especially fiction." It's a great way to relax after a long day. Repeat after me. "I love reading, especially fiction." It's a great way to relax after a long day. Excellent. Now let's try this with other hobbies. Instead of saying, "I like cooking," we can say something stronger and more interesting. For example, "I enjoy cooking." There's something really satisfying about creating a meal from scratch. Or, I'm passionate about cooking. I love trying new recipes and experimenting with different flavors. Let's practice together. Repeat after me slowly. I enjoy cooking. There's something really satisfying about creating a meal from scratch. Again, I enjoy cooking. There's something really satisfying about creating a meal from scratch. Beautiful. Now this one. I'm passionate about cooking. I love trying new recipes and experimenting with different flavors. Say it with me. I'm passionate about cooking. I love trying new recipes and experimenting with different flavors. Perfect. Do you notice how much more interesting these sentences sound? That's because they don't just tell us what you like. They explain why you like it and how it makes you feel. And that's what makes real conversation feel natural and engaging. Now let's practice a short conversation about hobbies. Imagine someone asks you, so, what do you like to do in your free time? You could answer, well, I'm really into photography. I love capturing moments and exploring new places with my camera. Then the other person might say, oh, that's cool. How long have you been into photography? And you respond, I'd say about 3 years now. It started as a hobby, but now I'm really passionate about it. Let's practice this whole exchange together. I'll ask the question, and you repeat the answer after me. So, what do you like to do in your free time? Now you say, well, I'm really into photography. I love capturing moments and exploring new places with my camera. Good. Now they say, oh, that's cool. How long have you been into photography? You respond, I'd say about 3 years now. It started as a hobby, but now I'm really passionate about it. Repeat that with me. I'd say about 3 years now. It started as a hobby, but now I'm really passionate about it. Excellent. This is real conversation practice. This is how fluency is built. You're not just memorizing words. You're experiencing the conversation, feeling the flow, and training your brain to respond naturally. If you're still practicing with me, type yes in the comments. I want to know you're here and working hard. Now let's move into another very important skill, expressing opinions. At the C1 level, you need to share your thoughts clearly and confidently, whether you're talking about a movie, a book, the news, or everyday topics. Instead of just saying, I think this is good, we can sound more natural and confident. For example, in my opinion, this is really effective. From my perspective, this approach makes a lot of sense. Personally, I find this quite interesting. Let's practice. Repeat after me. In my opinion, this is really effective. Again, in my opinion, this is really effective. Good. Now try this one. From my perspective, this approach makes a lot of sense. Say it with me. From my perspective, this approach makes a lot of sense. Nice. And one more. Personally, I find this quite interesting. Repeat. Personally, I find this quite interesting. Perfect. Now let's practice agreeing with someone in a natural way. Instead of only saying, yes, I agree, we can say, I completely agree with you on that. Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. Absolutely. I think you're spot on. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I completely agree with you on that. Again, I completely agree with you on that. Good. Now this one. Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. Say it with me. Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. And one more. Absolutely. I think you're spot on. Repeat. Absolutely. I think you're spot on. Wonderful. Now, what if you disagree? At the C1 level, we want to disagree politely and respectfully. Instead of saying, no, you're wrong, we can say, I see your point, but I think there's another way to look at it. That's an interesting perspective, though I have a slightly different view. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not entirely convinced. Let's practice these carefully. Repeat after me slowly. I see your point, but I think there's another way to look at it. Again, I see your point, but I think there's another way to look at it. Good. Now this one. That's an interesting perspective, though I have a slightly different view. Say it with me. That's an interesting perspective, though I have a slightly different view. And one more. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not entirely convinced. These phrases are very important. They allow you to share your opinion while still showing respect. This is advanced communication. This is how confident and fluent speakers disagree without creating tension. Now let's practice a mini conversation about opinions. Imagine you're talking with a friend about a movie. They say, "I thought the movie was amazing. The acting was incredible." You respond, "I completely agree. The lead actor really brought the character to life." Repeat after me, "I completely agree. The lead actor really brought the character to life." Good. Then they say, "Though I think the ending could have been stronger." You respond, "Yeah, I see what you mean. It felt a bit rushed." Say it with me. "Yeah, I see what you mean. It felt a bit rushed." Perfect. This is real, natural, confident English, and you're doing great. This is how real conversations really work in everyday life. People talk back and forth. One person shares an idea, the other person agrees, adds a thought, or builds on that idea. It feels natural, relaxed, and smooth. The more you practice speaking this way, the more comfortable and confident you become. Over time, this kind of communication starts to feel automatic, not forced. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily English practice. Subscribing helps you stay motivated and consistent, and it also helps us continue creating useful lessons just for you. Now, let's talk about something many English learners find difficult: making requests and asking for help. At the C1 level, our goal is to sound polite, confident, and natural at the same time. We don't want to sound too formal, and we don't want to sound shy or unsure. We want to sound like someone who knows how to communicate clearly and effectively. Instead of using very simple sentences like, "Can you help me?" we can use more natural and polite expressions. For example, you can say, "Would you mind helping me with something?" You can also say, "Could you possibly give me a hand with this?" Another great option is, "I was wondering if you could help me out." Now let's practice together. Please repeat after me slowly. Would you mind helping me with something? Again. Would you mind helping me with something? Great. Now try this one. Could you possibly give me a hand with this? Say it with me. Could you possibly give me a hand with this? Excellent. And now the last one. I was wondering if you could help me out. Repeat it. I was wondering if you could help me out. Very good. Next, let's practice asking for clarification, which is extremely important in real conversations. Sometimes you don't fully understand what someone says, and that's completely normal. Instead of just saying "what," we can use more polite and natural expressions. For example, you can say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again?" Another useful phrase is, "Just to make sure I understand, you're saying that." Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. Sorry, could you repeat that? Again. Sorry, could you repeat that? Good. Now this one. I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again? Say it with me. I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again? Excellent. And one more. Just to make sure I understand, you're saying that. These expressions sound open, respectful, and collaborative. They invite conversation instead of stopping it. This is exactly the kind of tone you want at the C1 level. All right, quick break. Did you subscribe yet? I'm watching you. Just kidding. But seriously, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. We are building something special together here on Feel Learns English, and I want you to be part of this journey every single day. Now, let's move on to talking about experiences, which is a huge part of daily conversation. We often talk about trips, challenges, interesting moments, or personal stories. At the C1 level, we want our stories to sound engaging, detailed, and natural. Instead of saying something very short like, "I went to the beach. It was nice," we can say something richer and more descriptive. For example, "Last weekend, I went to the beach with some friends, and it was absolutely beautiful. The weather was perfect, and we spent the whole day relaxing by the water." Let's practice this together. Repeat after me slowly. "Last weekend, I went to the beach with some friends, and it was absolutely beautiful. The weather was perfect, and we spent the whole day just relaxing by the water." Let's say it again. "Last weekend, I went to the beach with some friends, and it was absolutely beautiful. The weather was perfect, and we spent the whole day just relaxing by the water." Excellent. Now let's practice describing a challenge. Instead of saying, "I had a problem at work," we can say something more natural and detailed. For example, "Recently, I faced a bit of a challenge at work. One of our projects hit a snag, but we managed to work through it as a team." Let's practice. Repeat after me. "Recently, I faced a bit of a challenge at work. One of our projects hit a snag, but we managed to work through it as a team." Again. "Recently, I faced a bit of a challenge at work. One of our projects hit a snag, but we managed to work through it as a team." Perfect. Do you see how adding details, feelings, and context makes the story more interesting? That's exactly what we're practicing here. We're not just speaking English. We're telling stories, sharing experiences, and connecting with people. Now, let's move on to talking about future plans. This is something you will do all the time in real life. Whether you're talking about your weekend plans, your career goals, or your next vacation, learning how to talk about the future clearly and confidently is a key C1 skill. Instead of saying something very simple like, "I will go to Paris," we can use more natural and expressive sentences. For example, we can say, "I'm planning to visit Paris next summer. I've always wanted to see the Eiffel Tower in person." This sounds more interesting and more natural. Another good example is, "I'm hoping to travel to Paris sometime next year. It's been on my bucket list forever." These sentences show your feelings and excitement, not just your plan. Now let's practice together. Please repeat after me. "I'm planning to visit Paris next summer. I've always wanted to see the Eiffel Tower in person." Let's say it again. "I'm planning to visit Paris next summer. I've always wanted to see the Eiffel Tower in person." Good. Now try this one. "I'm hoping to travel to Paris sometime next year. It's been on my bucket list forever." Say it with me. "I'm hoping to travel to Paris sometime next year. It's been on my bucket list forever." Excellent. Now let's practice a short conversation about future plans. Imagine someone asks you, "So, do you have any plans for the weekend?" You could answer, "Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about going hiking on Saturday if the weather's nice." This sounds relaxed and natural. Then the other person might say, "Oh, that sounds fun. Where are you planning to go?" And you can respond, "There's a trail about an hour from here that I've been wanting to check out. I've heard it has amazing views." Let's practice this together. Repeat after me. "Yeah, actually, I'm thinking about going hiking on Saturday if the weather's nice." Good. Now they ask, "Oh, that sounds fun. Where are you planning to go?" You say, "There's a trail about an hour from here that I've been wanting to check out. I've heard it has amazing views." Repeat it. "There's a trail about an hour from here that I've been wanting to check out. I've heard it has amazing views." Perfect. This is how natural conversations flow. You share your plans, add details, and respond to questions. This is real English in action. Now, let's talk about something very important for C1 level fluency, using connecting words and transitions. These small words and phrases help your sentences connect smoothly. They make your speech sound organized, clear, and confident. Some very common connecting words are however, although, besides, in addition, on the other hand, as a result, nevertheless, and furthermore. Let's practice using some of these in sentences. Repeat after me. I wanted to go out. However, it started raining, so I stayed home. Again. I wanted to go out. However, it started raining, so I stayed home. Good. Now this one. Although I was tired, I decided to finish my work before going to bed. Say it with me. Although I was tired, I decided to finish my work before going to bed. Great. And now this one. In addition to studying English, I also practice speaking with friends online. Repeat. In addition to studying English, I also practice speaking with friends online. Excellent. These connecting words make your English sound polished and advanced. They show that you can organize your ideas clearly. Now let's practice with the word nevertheless, which is great for showing contrast. Repeat after me. The exam was difficult. Nevertheless, I think I did well. Again. I'm frustrated with how long this is taking. Good. Now this one. I'm really annoyed about the situation. Say it with me. I'm really annoyed about the situation. And one more. I'm fed up with all these delays. Repeat. I'm fed up with all these delays. Excellent. These emotional expressions make your English sound rich, real, and human. They help you connect with people on a deeper emotional level. Now let's practice talking about surprise. Instead of just saying, I'm surprised, we can say, I'm shocked, I'm amazed, I'm taken aback, I'm blown away, or I didn't see that coming. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'm shocked by the news. Again. I'm shocked by the news. Good. Now this one. I'm blown away by how much you've improved. Say it with me. I'm blown away by how much you've improved. And one more. I didn't see that coming at all. Repeat. I didn't see that coming at all. Perfect. Do you notice how much more colorful and interesting your English becomes when you use different emotional expressions? This is the real difference between basic English and C1 level English. It's not only about what you say, but also how you say it, how you make the other person feel, and how you create a real connection. If you're still with me, type C1 in the comments and let me know you're on this journey with me. We're building something powerful together. Now let's move into workplace English, which is extremely important for many learners. Many of you are learning English for professional reasons, such as job interviews, meetings, emails, and daily communication with colleagues. At the C1 level, you need to sound professional, confident, and clear in all of these situations. Let's start with meetings. Imagine you're in a meeting and you want to share an idea. Instead of saying, I think we should do this, you can say something more professional and polite, like, I'd like to suggest that we consider this approach. You could also say, if I may, I think it might be worth exploring this option. Another good option is, one idea that comes to mind is trying this strategy. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. I'd like to suggest that we consider this approach. Again. I'd like to suggest that we consider this approach. Good. Now this one. If I may, I think it might be worth exploring this option. Say it with me. If I may, I think it might be worth exploring this option. And one more. One idea that comes to mind is trying this strategy. Repeat. One idea that comes to mind is trying this strategy. Excellent. Now let's practice agreeing with a colleague in a meeting. Instead of simply saying, yes, good idea, we can sound more professional by saying, I think that's a solid suggestion, or that's a really good point. I agree completely, or I'm on board with that approach. Let's practice. Repeat after me. I think that's a solid suggestion. Again. I think that's a solid suggestion. Good. Now this one. That's a really good point. I agree completely. Say it with me. That's a really good point. I agree completely. And one more. I'm on board with that approach. Repeat. I'm on board with that approach. Perfect. Now, what if you need to politely disagree in a professional situation? Instead of saying no, that won't work, we can use softer and more respectful language. For example, you can say, I see what you're saying, but I have some concerns about that approach. Or, that's one way to look at it. However, I wonder if we might also consider this alternative. These expressions help you disagree politely while still sounding professional and respectful. Another useful way to disagree politely is by saying, I appreciate that perspective, but I'm not entirely convinced it's the best solution. This shows respect for the other person's opinion while still expressing your own view. Now let's practice these expressions carefully. Please repeat after me slowly. I see what you're saying, but I have some concerns about that approach. Again. I see what you're saying, but I have some concerns about that approach. Good. Now try this one. That's one way to look at it, though I wonder if we might also consider this alternative. Say it with me. That's one way to look at it, though I wonder if we might also consider this alternative. And one more. I appreciate that perspective, but I'm not entirely convinced it's the best solution. Repeat. I appreciate that perspective, but I'm not entirely convinced it's the best solution. Excellent. These phrases are professional, respectful, and clear. They allow you to disagree without creating conflict or tension, which is especially important in professional environments. Now, let's practice asking for feedback at work. Instead of saying something very short like, what do you think? We can use more polished and professional expressions. For example, you can say, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, or do you have any feedback on this approach, or how does this sound to you? Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Again. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Good. Now this one. Do you have any feedback on this approach? Say it with me. Do you have any feedback on this approach? And one more. How does this sound to you? Repeat. How does this sound to you? Perfect. Now let's practice giving updates in a professional setting. Instead of saying, we finished the project, we can use clearer and more professional language. For example, you can say, I'm pleased to report that we've completed the project on schedule. Or, just to update everyone, we've finished the first phase and are now moving into the next stage. Another option is, I wanted to let you know that we've wrapped up the project and it's ready for review. Let's practice these. Repeat after me. I'm pleased to report that we've completed the project on schedule. Again. I'm pleased to report that we've completed the project on schedule. Good. Now this one. Just to update everyone, we've finished the first phase and we're moving into the next stage. Say it with me. Just to update everyone, we've finished the first phase and we're moving into the next stage. And one more. I wanted to let you know that we've wrapped up the project and it's ready for review. Repeat. I wanted to let you know that we've wrapped up the project and it's ready for review. Excellent. These professional expressions make you sound organized, confident, and capable at work. This is exactly what you need to succeed in an English-speaking professional environment. Now, let's move on to something very practical: telephone conversations. Whether you're calling to make an appointment, ask for information, or handle a work-related call, it's important to sound clear and confident on the phone. Phone conversations can be challenging because the other person can't see your facial expressions or body language. Let's start with how to begin a phone call professionally. Instead of saying, "Hi, it's me," you can say something more formal and clear, such as, "Hello, this is Sarah calling from ABC Company." Or, "Hi, this is Tom. I'm calling regarding the meeting we discussed." Another good example is, "Good morning, this is Tommy. I wanted to follow up on our conversation from yesterday." Let's practice. Repeat after me. Hello, this is Safa calling from ADA Company. Again. Hello, this is Sarah calling from ADA Company. Good. Now this one. Hi, this is Tom. I'm calling regarding the meeting we discussed. Say it with me. Hi, this is Tom. I'm calling regarding the meeting we discussed. And one more. Good morning, this is Tommy. I wanted to follow up on our conversation from yesterday. Repeat. Good morning, this is Tommy. I wanted to follow up on our conversation from yesterday. Perfect. Now let's practice asking if someone is available to talk. Instead of saying, "Can you talk?" we can say, "Is this a good time to talk?" Or, "Do you have a few minutes to chat?" Or, "I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time." Let's practice. Repeat after me. Is this a good time to talk? Again. Is this a good time to talk? Good. Now this one. Do you have a few minutes to chat? Say it with me. Do you have a few minutes to chat? And one more. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. Repeat. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. Excellent. Finally, let's practice ending a phone call professionally. Instead of just saying, "Bye," we can use more polite and professional closing phrases. For example, "Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day." Or, "I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Talk to you soon." Or, "All right, I'll let you go. Thanks again, and we'll be in touch." Let's practice together. Repeat after me. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day. Again. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day. Good. Now this one. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Talk to you soon. Say it with me. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Talk to you soon. And one more. All right, I'll let you go. Thanks again, and we'll be in touch. Repeat. All right, I'll let you go. Thanks again, and we'll be in touch. Perfect. Phone conversations are all about clarity and professionalism, and these phrases help you sound confident and polite every time. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily English practice. It really makes a difference in your English fluency journey to practice these skills regularly. Now, let's move on to something that comes up all the time in real life: making small talk. Small talk is those light, friendly conversations you have with people you don't know very well, like a colleague, a neighbor, or someone you've just met. At the C1 level, being comfortable with small talk is important because this is how relationships start. Common topics for small talk include the weather, weekend plans, work, hobbies, and current events. Let's practice some natural small talk openers. Instead of just saying, "How are you?" you can say, "Hey, how's your day going so far? How's everything with you? How have you been keeping lately?" Repeat after me. Hey, how's your day going so far? Again. Hey, how's your day going so far? Good. Now this one. How's everything with you? Say it with me. How's everything with you? And one more. How have you been keeping lately? Repeat. How have you been keeping lately? Excellent. Now let's practice talking about the weather, a classic small talk topic. Instead of just saying, "Nice weather," you can say, "It's such a beautiful day today, isn't it? Can you believe how cold it's gotten? Looks like we're finally getting some sunshine." Repeat after me. "It's such a beautiful day today, isn't it?" Again. "It's such a beautiful day today, isn't it?" Good. Now this one. Can you believe how cold it's gotten? Say it with me. Can you believe how cold it's gotten? And one more. Looks like we're finally getting some sunshine. Repeat. Looks like we're finally getting some sunshine. Perfect. Next, let's practice asking about someone's weekend. Instead of just saying, "What did you do?" you can say, "Did you do anything fun over the weekend? How was your weekend? Do anything interesting this weekend?" Repeat after me. Did you do anything fun over the weekend? Again. Did you do anything fun over the weekend? Good. Now this one. How was your weekend? Say it with me. How was your weekend? And one more. Do anything interesting this weekend? Repeat. Do anything interesting this weekend? Excellent. Now let's practice responding to small talk. If someone asks about your weekend, instead of just saying, It was good. You can add details. It was pretty relaxing, actually. I just stayed home and caught up on some reading. It was great. I went hiking with some friends. How about you? Repeat after me. It was pretty relaxing, actually. I just stayed home and caught up on some reading. Again. It was pretty relaxing, actually. I just stayed home and caught up on some reading. Good. Now this one. It was great. I went hiking with some friends. How about you? Say it with me. It was great. I went hiking with some friends. How about you? Perfect. Small talk is all about being friendly, showing interest, and keeping the conversation light and easy. These phrases help you do exactly that. Now let's move on to something very important, talking about problems and finding solutions. This comes up all the time in real life. Whether you're troubleshooting at work, dealing with a personal challenge, or helping a friend figure something out, at the C1 level you want to discuss problems clearly and offer solutions thoughtfully. First, let's practice describing a problem. Instead of saying, "There's a problem," you can say, "We've run into a bit of an issue with the project. I'm facing a challenge with this task. We've hit a snag that we need to work through." Repeat after me. We've run into a bit of an issue with the project. Again. We've run into a bit of an issue with the project. Good. Now this one. I'm facing a challenge with this task. Say it with me. I'm facing a challenge with this task. And one more. We've hit a snag that we need to work through. Repeat. We've hit a snag that we need to work through. Excellent. Next, let's practice offering solutions. Instead of saying, "Do this," you can say, "One possible solution would be to try this approach. What if we looked at it from a different angle? Perhaps we could consider this alternative." Repeat after me. One possible solution would be to try this approach. Again. One possible solution would be to try this approach. Good. Now this one. What if we looked at it from a different angle? Say it with me. What if we looked at it from a different angle? And one more. Perhaps we could consider this alternative. Repeat. Perhaps we could consider this alternative. Perfect. Finally, let's practice asking for help with a problem. Instead of just saying, "I need help," you can say, "I could really use your input on this. Do you have any suggestions for how to approach this? I'm a bit stuck. Any ideas?" Repeat after me. "I could really use your input on this." Again. "I could really use your input on this." Good. Now this one. Do you have any suggestions for how to approach this? Say it with me. Do you have any suggestions for how to approach this? And one more. I'm a bit stuck. Any ideas? Repeat. I'm a bit stuck. Any ideas? Excellent. These phrases help you navigate problems confidently and collaboratively, which is exactly what you need in real-life situations. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to solve a problem in English? How did it go? I'd love to hear your stories. Next, let's move on to apologizing and accepting apologies, another key part of real-life communication. This is such an important part of communication. At the C1 level, you want to apologize sincerely and accept apologies graciously. Let's start with apologizing. Instead of just saying, "Sorry," you can say, "I'm really sorry about that. I apologize for the inconvenience. That was my mistake, and I take full responsibility." Repeat after me. I'm really sorry about that. Again. I'm really sorry about that. Good. Now this one. I apologize for the inconvenience. Say it with me. I apologize for the inconvenience. And one more. That was my mistake, and I take full responsibility. Repeat. That was my mistake, and I take full responsibility. Perfect. Now let's practice accepting an apology. Instead of just saying, "It's okay," you can say, "No worries. These things happen. I appreciate the apology. Let's move forward. Don't worry about it. It's all good." Repeat after me. No worries. These things happen. Again. No worries. These things happen. Good. Now this one. I appreciate the apology. Let's move forward. Say it with me. I appreciate the apology. Let's move forward. And one more. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Repeat. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Excellent. These phrases show maturity, professionalism, and emotional intelligence. They help you handle tricky situations gracefully and confidently. Next, let's practice giving and receiving compliments, another key skill for real-life English. Instead of saying, "You're good," you can say, "You did an amazing job on that presentation. I really admire your dedication to this project. That was really impressive. Well done." Repeat after me. You did an amazing job on that presentation. Again. You did an amazing job on that presentation. Good. Now this one. I really admire your dedication to this project. Say it with me. I really admire your dedication to this project. And one more. That was really impressive. Well done. Repeat. That was really impressive. Well done. Perfect. Now let's practice receiving compliments. Instead of just saying thanks, you can say, "Thank you so much. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. Thanks. I worked really hard on it, so I'm glad it shows." Repeat after me. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Again. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Good. Now this one. I really appreciate that. Say it with me. I really appreciate that. And one more. Thanks. I worked really hard on it, so I'm glad it shows. Repeat. Thanks. I worked really hard on it, so I'm glad it shows. Excellent. Giving and receiving compliments graciously shows confidence and emotional maturity. It helps you build stronger connections with people. Now, let's talk about something really important: motivation. Learning English isn't just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about believing in yourself, staying consistent, and trusting the process. Sometimes it can feel hard. Sometimes it feels like you're practicing but not making progress. Sometimes you feel embarrassed when speaking. Sometimes native speakers talk so fast that you wonder, will I ever speak like that? And I want to tell you something. Yes, you will. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It happens day by day, word by word, sentence by sentence. Every time you practice, you're building something. Every time you make a mistake and keep going, you're growing. Every time you feel scared but speak anyway, you become stronger. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. You don't need to know every word. You just need to practice the words you know. You don't need to sound exactly like a native speaker. You just need to communicate clearly, confidently, and authentically. Here's the beautiful truth. You're already on the path. The fact that you're practicing with me now shows you're committed. It shows you care about your growth. That's the most important thing. Promise me this. Practice a little every day. Even 5 minutes counts. Even one conversation counts. Even repeating a few sentences out loud counts. These small steps lead to big progress. Remember, English is not just a language. It's a tool, a bridge, a way to connect, to share ideas, to explore the world, and to achieve your dreams. Every sentence you learn is a step toward your goals. Every conversation opens new doors. You are capable. You are strong. You are on your way to fluency. I'm proud of you for being here today. Before we finish, let's practice one final powerful affirmation together. Say it to yourself every day. Repeat after me slowly. I am learning English every day. I am becoming more confident with every word I speak. I am capable of achieving fluency. I believe in myself and my journey. Say it with me one more time. I am learning English every day. I am becoming more confident with every word I speak. I am capable of achieving fluency. I believe in myself and my journey. Beautiful. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Thank you for practicing, for believing, and for showing up. This is Feel Learns English, and I'm Shafi. I'll see you in the next lesson. Keep practicing. Keep believing. Keep growing. You've got this, my friend.